Dave Weiner here, and I'm going to do another little screencast. This time, hopefully, the sound quality will be a little bit better, and maybe even the content will be a little bit better too. This time, I'm going to show you something new that I've been working on, new and not new. In some ways, new, some ways not. It's let's call this a stream of conscious. I don't even think this is right. It probably should be stream of, just let's call it a stream. Here I'm getting all confused and everything. Let's just call this a stream. And I just put a timestamp in there and with Command 4 and taken out the time itself. So here are some things that I'd like to talk about today. Who uses outlines? What are they useful for? And brief history. And I'm going to dash around between different topics, probably because the ideas will, I haven't outlined this in my head before. These are just the things that I want to actually talk about. And I don't know what exactly we're going to do. Anyway, so it starts, as far as I know, with Doug Engelbart and his Augment project, and that was written about by Ted Nelson in his book Computer Lib Dream Machines. And Ted's work on this is right up there with Engelbart's, in that there's a lot of thinking gone into this, and a lot of the ideas that people have had about this come through Ted Nelson or from Ted Nelson. My own outliners, well, I did my first project as a grad student, and that was an outliner. It was line-oriented, and program editor for Pascal, and it was written C, ran on Unix, and this was late 70s. I don't actually even remember the name of the project. Then I did one after graduating that was on the UCSD P system, and that one was just an outliner. It wasn't built for programming. Actually, it was an outliner integrated with a relational database. Don't ask me why. And there was interesting integration in that you could have a cell in the database could be an outline, and an outline could contain databases. They were inside of each other and all around wrapped in. But this was a line-oriented thing also. When I went to California, I did a deal with Personal Software and created a product called VisiText. And VisiText was the first outliner that had expand and collapse and reorganize, visual reorganize. Up till that point, they were all command-oriented. You say $1, which would show you all the lines at the level that you're at, and then to go in and out levels, you dive and surface. This one, you had a cursor, and you had commands that expanded and collapsed, and did all that kind of cool stuff. And then that turned into Think Tank, which was for the Apple II, and then later for the IBM PC, and then the Macintosh. We went to Macintosh, and we did, it also was called Think Tank, which was confusing because it's quite a different product, even though it had the same basic capabilities of visual outliner. What distinguished it was the mouse. and you could move the cursor like I'm moving it here, and double click to expand and collapse. And I showed you this in the last screencast. And you could drag things. Let's suppose the Mac had come out before, or maybe it was a project that was done on the UCSD. It wasn't any of that, but I'm just pointing out that the mouse was an important part of the process and the evolution of this stuff. And then graphics, and that was more. And what we could do is bullet charts and tree charts. And that was an important development in that you could do a text base designed for something that then would be rendered in a graphical fashion. And it was usually popular and brought outlining to a sort of person that wasn't the kind of person who would be thinking in terms of organizing their ideas. And then after all of that, then there was Frontier. And Frontier was in many ways the realization of the whole idea. Because if you go back to the beginning, when I was a grad student, what I was thinking was that, programs are outlines, but so are the data structures that the programs operate on. Those are also outlines. The user interface elements, those are outlines. Or hierarchies, it's really the same thing. And in fact, everywhere you look in the computer, a web page, to bring it up to date, the DOM is a hierarchy. The website itself is a hierarchy. And so if everywhere you go inside computers, you see these hierarchies, why not start from the very beginning with the idea that let's start with an outliner and then develop all of this with the assumption that outlining is something that the operating system does in a really great way, in a complete way, and so there's no compromise on any of these. What you find in today's operating systems, and that includes the latest mobile operating systems, iOS and Android, that they have sort of lots of different ways of editing hierarchies, and none of them are as good as a unified approach would be. But that's Frontier said, and what are the components of Frontier? Frontier had an object database, a scripting language, or let's just say language, verb set, threaded runtime, menu editor, pretty important, TCP stack, lots of XML stuff. That means RSS, OPML, XML RPC, REST. You can do REST here as well. SOAP. I know people don't like SOAP. I'm not a big fan of it myself, but it's there. And of course JSON, which I sort of include in all of that, is just sort of being another line format for the same kind of structures that you use XML for. And so it's all of these things. I'm sure I'm leaving some things out. And at its core, it's an outliner. So the object database you can browse the object database and edit the the data in real time while the code is running. You can edit the data, and that's done again in an outliner, in the outliner that's built into it. And so Frontier then became, when we did an open source GPL release of Frontier in 2004, and then the OPML editor is just a distribution of Frontier. And a lot of enhancements over the years, a lot of slow development that, just going back and reviewing everything really, and improving and optimizing and doing slowly what we had done very, very quickly previously, because I've learned that doing a slow treatment of this stuff is actually a really good idea. So let's collapse some of this stuff. Go all the way up. And let's go back to where we started. Where are we at? I don't know. It's hard to tell how long. Yes, 10 minutes and 25 seconds is what they're saying. So who uses outlines? Well, we know that programmers do. People who are aware of the way they organize. It's a key point. If you're not thinking in terms of how you organize information in your brain or in your life, it's not going to occur to you that you could have a tool for doing that. So it generally tends to be people, academics, lawyers, big deal with lawyers, doctors, researchers, and managers, execs, CEOs, rich people. I'm talking from experience because we sold, many tens of thousands of these for real money, for up to $295 per seed. We sold lots of copies of this, and so we really got to know the people who used it, and that was in the 80s with all those products that I was telling you about, and you could always tell a think tank user or a More user from a mile away as they were coming to the booth. They were generally very excited people, at least when they were around us, I guess they were, and just people who do stuff. I mean, I wasn't joking the other day when I wrote that, my users are really, really smart people. They really are, and I'm hoping to bring some of that back now. I want some of them to come back and work with me on some there's a lot of stuff that's been developed that I want to roll out and I want to bring to users. And I'm not thinking about how to get rich with this. I'm thinking about, I don't mean monetarily rich, I'm thinking about how to enrich all of our lives by connecting all these great brains. It's kind of what I'm into. So that's the who, and I'm sure I'm leaving some people out. What do they use it for? Well, when you have an idea that is that needs, let's start with the pragmatic stuff, project management. And this is something that, if you look at project management software, it's all evolved to outlining as part of that, a serious part of it. Presentations. You're going to get up and give a speech, and you want to organize your thinking. Once you've actually done it in an outliner, you don't need any speaker notes because you've organized it in your head. Writing. I write all my blogging, link blogging, show production. I know people who use outliners to do the very specific, if you're doing a radio show or a TV show, you need to have the processes in outline, really. So there's that. Again, I'm sure I'm leaving things out. Apps, web pages. Web pages are wonderful in templates. Let's put that underneath this. Content management. So there's a punchline coming in here, and I'm going to try to squeeze this into. I'm trying to make the size of this screencast smaller, so I've made the area of the screen that I'm displaying stuff in very, very small. And now it's going to be a little inconvenient for that. So I'm going to take this and move it off to the side. And first I'm going to save it. And when I save it, this is a special window, special outline window. this is going up to the server. It's still just saving it out, and all these outlines are stored in OPML format. It's just really saving it out as OPML up onto a server, but it's integrated into a CMS. And here, before I do this, let me click on the View button. And that brings the browser to the front. Ah, I didn't do something. Now I'm going to have to do something really geeky. I apologize in advance. Let's see. Wow, it's really bad. I'm going to have to actually type some code in here to make this work. Right, there's no one-liners thing. Let's create a new outline. Okay, this is where my demo is starting to, so let's do op.attributes.set1 and type. So this guy has to have an attribute. For programmers, there are invisible attributes on every one of these lines, and I need to put an attribute on here that says that this is a stream, not just any old type. It's there. Did you hear the beep? Now let me bring this into the view here and do a refresh. With any luck, yes, we now have what we call a stream. Let me move this up a little bit. Get that in there. So, if you remember what we typed, let me just clap some of this stuff out. Of course, this is a web page, and anybody can access this page. And but you can see that as I was typing that outline, I was actually creating a beautiful web page, right? And so this is sort of new, this ability to have the expandable, collapsible outline be part of a web page like this in my world. Not to say other people have done outliners that run, hierarchy, expandable, collapsible hierarchies that run in a web browser. I'm not saying that's brand new, but it's this connection between the OPML editor and this content that in my space is new and something that I've been really learning JavaScript and browser-based programming and learning how to hack at this stuff and actually having quite a bit of fun with it lately. And now if you look all the way over here, you'll see that there's discuss icons, and as I move my mouse over it, you can see that it turns boldface, right? And you can go to 1974.mediahackers.org and go to stream, click on the stream. You can do all this yourself. And let's say I just wanted to say, keep up the good work, Dave. I keep right-clicking here. And that's why I get these pop-ups, accidentally right-clicking. There we go. Show production. Hello. Discuss. There we go. I'm using discuss here. And so a little modal dialog pops up, and I type in my comment. I am now using the outliner for show production, which is true. I just produced a little show and organized it in real time while everybody was watching. This is something. Oh, I don't remember my password. You'll just have to take my word for it. I'm so sorry that it didn't pre-flight this, but let's just see. Now, post as. Well, not going to get to do this here right now, but that's just a matter of logging on to discuss. And had that worked, the number would have changed from 0 to 1. And I'm going to leave this up here so that so if people have comments on any of these things, areas, or questions about that, you can ask them. And of course, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to put up, I think of this as a stream of consciousness. or stream of conscious. I'm going to have to look up which one is it. Is it stream of conscious or stream of conscience? Pretty sure it's consciousness. I think this is really cool. I'm looking forward to using it. And this part is new, this idea of linking directly into comments. Here, let me go back out, pop out a level, go back to the outliner, and here, I can show you this better. Yeah, this is the one I was using as test. And you can see now here some of these have comments like New Jersey. And I have to find something. I was just doing testing here. Anyway, that's what I wanted to show you today. And if the audio quality is any good, then I'm going to go ahead and ship this because I think this is actually came out pretty decent. Anyway, and I hope to do some more of these later. So I hope you're all having a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.